Sister's husband and she scammed me into covering their expenses, which I didn't mind until they both mocked me. I cut all ties, and now they're begging for forgiveness and financial help. Be me, 26, data engineer in Sacramento. Middle child, always was the quiet, nerdy type. Straight A's in school, built computers for fun as a kid, got picked last in gym class. Older sister Sophie, 28, was the golden child growing up. Varsity everything, homecoming queen. Youngest brother Lucas, 23, somehow stayed under the radar. Lucky kid, fast forward to March 2023. Finally hitting my stride career-wise. Spent 6 months in a data science boot camp back in 2019. Worked tech support during the day to pay bills. Do not recommend. Grinded my way up from junior to senior position. Making serious money now. Still feels unreal after working at an electronics store a few years ago. Grew up watching parents stress about money. Always been careful with cash. Live in basic one-bedroom apartment. Decent neighborhood, but nothing fancy. Drive a 2019 Toyota Corolla. Named her Luna after the moon landing. Yes, I'm that kind of nerd. Most money goes into index funds and retirement. Followed all the financial advice I could find. Sophie thought, totally different. Story, one of those people who peaked in high school, never adjusted to real life. Works as yoga instructor at fancy wellness center. You know the type. Essential oils and meditation pods everywhere. Barely making any money. Her fiancé Nathan claims to be up-and-coming realtor. Always talking about huge deals. Just around the corner. Sure, bro. Their social media is pure cringe. Constant posts at expensive restaurants. Matching athleisure outfits. Endless weekend trips to trendy rentals. They rent this ridiculous house. Modern farmhouse aesthetic. Costs more than most people's mortgage. Something doesn't add up. Their income versus their lifestyle. Math isn't mathing. It's 11:30 p.m. on a Tuesday night. In the middle of a Valorant match. Yes, I still play. Judge all you want? Sophie calls out of nowhere. She never calls unless she needs something. Already know this isn't going to be good. She's full-on crying. Can barely understand her. Turns out they're 3 months behind on utilities. Maxed out 4 credit cards. 4 of them. Rent check about to bounce. Nathan's big real estate deals all fell through. His broker threatening to pull his license if he doesn't start closing something soon. Being the certified nerd that I am, felt genuinely bad. Maybe it was guilt from when she defended me from bullies in middle school. Maybe because she actually said, I need your help for first time ever. Or maybe I'm just a huge sucker. Offered to help until Nathan's next deal closes. Just 2 or 3 months tops, she said. Needed $2,000 for rent and utilities. Had it in savings? Family is family, right? Sent the money that night? Even made her a budgeting spreadsheet. She never opened it. Suggested ways to cut back spending. She completely ignored those too. But hey, at least I tried to be responsible. Here's where I made my first mistake. Let it become a regular thing. Every month, Sophie would send a payment request. Sometimes with heart emoji, sometimes with "You're the best brother ever." Once sent photo of their golden retriever, holding "Thank you, Uncle Marcus" sign. I'll admit that was pretty cute. Looking back, it was all manipulation. Kept telling myself it was temporary, that Nathan would start closing deals again. Spoiler, he wouldn't. That Sophie would finally stick to a budget. Spoiler, she didn't. That they'd get their life together. Biggest spoiler, nope. Instead, watched through social media as my money funded their perfect life. While I meal prepped chicken and rice, they posted stories from $250 bistro dinners. While I put off buying new computer parts, Sophie showed off her new $600 hairstyling system. Took me forever to figure out what it even was. Apparently, it's just a fancy hairdryer. The worst part? Actually defended them when friends pointed out red flags. They're just bad with money, I'd say. They need guidance. Family's got to stick together. God, I can't believe how naive I was. As time went on, Sophie got more comfortable. Requests started coming with zero context. Just money amounts and random emojis. Or, "You're the best brother ever" with star emoji. One time she had the audacity to mark it as urgent because they wanted to book a limited time deal for a weekend trip to wine country. Yeah, because that's totally what emergency aid is for. Here's what really gets me though. I was making real sacrifices to help them. Had been saving for a house down payment. Sacramento real estate prices are insane. That fund basically became the Sophie and Nathan support fund. Cut my retirement contributions from 15% to 6%, just to keep my emergency fund intact. My gaming PC still running a GTX 1080. Kept putting off upgrades, even switched to store brand coffee. Fellow tech people will understand what a sacrifice that is. Meanwhile, their Instagram looked like influencer highlight reel. Let me paint you a picture of what my $2,000 was funding. October 2023. Sophie posts about spontaneous date night. New rooftop fusion restaurant downtown. Quick search shows Tasting menu is $175 per person, not including drinks. They got the wine pairing. No, because she posted all 8 courses in her stories. November 2023. Nathan decides he needs more professional image. Suddenly wearing different designer polo shirts. New one in every photo. Same week they're too broke to pay water bill. Make it make sense. December 2023. They throw massive Christmas party at their house. Catered food. Professional light display outside. Custom cocktails. Hired actual photographer. A photographer for house party. Meanwhile, I'm eating instant ramen because I just sent them rent money. January 2024. Sophie starts posting about wellness journey again. New designer workout clothes. Everything matching. Bought fancy smart rowing machine. Costs more than my first car. Fridge full of overpriced meal prep services. But God forbid they learn to budget or cook for themselves. The crazy part? I actually convinced myself this was okay. Had whole rationalization worked out. They're just bad with money. They need guidance. At least they're not in debt anymore. Spoiler, they totally still were. My personal favorite excuse. They'll pay me back once Nathan's real estate career takes off. My best friend Oliver works in fintech. Been telling me I'm an idiot since day one. Actually sat me down and did the math. In 18 months, I'd given them $36,000. $36,000, that's a decent down payment in some areas. That's a new car. That's a lot of money. To give people posting weekly manicure updates on Instagram. But want to know the real kicker? What finally made me realize how deep this money pit went? I made a spreadsheet, because of course I did. Track their social media spending, based just on what they posted publicly. In the same 18 months, I'd given them $36,000. They spent at least $4,800 on gym memberships. Both had premium fitness club memberships. If you know, you know. $3,000 plus on Sophie's wellness treatments. Whatever the hell those are. $2,400 on Nathan's golf club membership. $5,000 plus on restaurants. Just the ones they posted about. $3,500 on Sophie's makeup addiction. She had their top-tier reward status. $2,900 on Nathan's work wardrobe. God knows how much on their constant weekend trips. These are conservative estimates, based only on what they publicly posted. Real numbers were probably way higher. Worst part? Every time I tried to bring up budgeting or financial planning, they'd get defensive. Sophie would pull the "you don't understand" card. We have to maintain an image for Nathan's career. My favorite was, just because you're okay living like a college student doesn't mean everyone wants to live that way. Yeah, because living within your means is totally the same as being a broke college kid. Looking back, I realized they never saw my help as temporary. Built their entire lifestyle around extra $2,000 monthly, counting on their rich tech brother to keep subsidizing their Instagram perfect life indefinitely. You ever have one of those moments where your whole world shifts on its axis? Like 1 minute, everything's normal. Next, you realize you've been living in bizarre, alternate reality. Yeah. Welcome to my mom's 50th birthday party. Mom wanted big celebration. Rented cute event space downtown. Nothing too fancy, but nice enough that Sophie complained. It wasn't Instagram worthy. Should have been my first clue for how the day would go. Spent morning helping set up, making sure catering was sorted, testing AV system for slideshow. You know, actual useful stuff. Sophie and Nathan showed up an hour late. Because of course they did. Rolled up in his leased luxury sedan. Another red flag I'd been ignoring. Who leases a 5 Series when they can barely make rent? Sophie wearing designer dress. Still had tags tucked in. Found that out later. She was planning to return it. Nathan sporting his newest real estate power look, complete with designer loafers. Looked like NPCs from game about wealthy millennials. Party was going fine at first. Mom was happy. Dad doing his usual thing. Manning the grill despite having caterers. Lucas entertaining little cousins with some TikTok dances. Normal family stuff. Mostly hanging back. Nursing my beer. Trying to avoid Nathan's attempts to rope me into his latest investment opportunity. Spoiler, it was crypto. That's when I noticed Aunt Diana giving me weird looks across room. Diana's always been straight shooter in family. She's that aunt who tells you if your outfit looks bad or if your boyfriend's a loser. No filter, just facts. After dinner, I was helping clean up plates. Apparently, I'm only one raised to help at parties. Diana cornered me in kitchen. Had this look on her face, like she was about to tell me someone died. "Honey," she said, checking over shoulder to make sure we were alone. "We need to talk about Sophie and Nathan." Figured she was going to lecture me about enabling their lifestyle. Gotten pretty good at deflecting those conversations. But what came next hit me like a truck. "I was at Lily's baby shower last week," Diana started, voice low. "Sophie and Nathan were there. getting pretty loose on the mimosas. They were talking about you, making jokes. My stomach did weird flip thing. What kind of jokes? Diana looked physically pained. They were calling you the rich tech nerd, who was too busy with computers to have real life. Said you were... She paused, clearly debating whether to continue. They said you were such a loser that you had to buy their friendship. With the monthly payments, felt like I'd been punched in gut. But Diana wasn't done. Sophie was laughing about how you're so bad with money because you wasted it all on them. Instead of getting a life, she told everyone the money was just tech bro guilt payments. Because you make too much for doing nothing all day, beer in my hand suddenly felt very heavy through kitchen door. Could hear Sophie's distinctive laugh, probably showing someone her latest Instagram photos. My ears were ringing. That's not all, Diana continued, hand on my arm. Nathan was bragging about how they've got you wrapped around their finger, said as long as Sophie plays helpless little sister card. You'll keep paying their bills indefinitely. Must have gone pale, because Diana pushed chair toward me, sat down hard, mind racing through every interaction. Past 18 months, every thank you text, every grateful hug, every you're the best brother ever message. It had all been an act. Why are you telling me this? Managed to ask. Diana's face softened. Because you're a good kid who works hard for his money. And because I watched them take 1,000 selfies tonight, in front of decorations you paid for, making fun of how you try too hard to make mom happy. Right then, Sophie burst into kitchen, already talking mile a minute about how Nathan needed my help, setting up his new crypto wallet. She stopped short when she saw my face. Everything okay? She asked, voice dripping with fake concern. I now realized I'd been hearing for months. Looked at her. Really looked at her. My sister wearing dress that cost more than my student loan payment. Holding latest iPhone I'd convinced myself she needed for work. Planning wedding I was expected to help pay for, all while laughing at what a sucker I was. Yeah, I said, voice steady. Everything's fine. But it wasn't fine. Not even close. As I watched Sophie bounce back to party, already posting another story about her amazing family celebration. Something inside me shifted. The quiet tech nerd who always helped everyone. He was done being family ATM. Spent rest of party watching them through new eyes. Every laugh felt hollow. Every hug felt fake. Every time Nathan mentioned upcoming deals, or Sophie talked about their investment strategy, I felt physically ill. When they left that night, early because they had brunch plans next day, Sophie gave her usual, love you bro. Nathan did his fake punch on arm thing. I smiled and waved goodbye. They had no idea what was coming. Here's the thing about being tech nerd of family. We're really good at documentation and planning, and being methodical when we need to be. Sophie and Nathan thought I was just pushover, who typed on keyboards all day. They were about to learn exactly what motivated engineer can do, with spreadsheet and too much cold brew coffee. Morning after mom's party, woke up early, did what I do best, made project plan. Remember that spreadsheet I mentioned earlier? Time to turn it into weapon. Spent entire Sunday going through 18 months of receipts, bank statements, Venmo histories, every single payment, every request, every emergency transfer, all meticulously cataloged. But real goldmine was social media. See, Sophie and Nathan weren't just bad with money, they were compulsively public about it. Tagged every restaurant, every store, every luxury experience, even enabled location sharing on most posts, could literally map out their spending sprees. Remember that fancy fusion dinner they had when two broke to pay electric bill? Tagged with date night, luxury life, no regrets? Nathan's designer loafers purchase, instead of paying car insurance, posted with got to invest in yourself 100%, created timeline matching their social posts against their desperate requests for money. Actually impressive how blatant it was. They'd post about booking spa weekend. Then 3 days later, Sophie would text about surprise medical bill. They'd show off new designer furniture. Then Nathan would call about being short on rent. Audacity was almost admirable. Then did something probably sounds petty, but turned out to be crucial. Started screen recording their Instagram stories. You know how those disappear after 24 hours? Well, not if you save them. Every humble brag, every blessed caption, every screenshot of their food delivery orders, kept all of it, made folder of screenshots, showing timestamps when they'd post about buying luxury stuff, literally hours after I'd sent them money. Here's where my inner nerd really came in handy. Built simple program to track their posting patterns. Turns out they had system. Usually ask for money Thursdays or Fridays, right before weekend plans, wait until money cleared, then suddenly burst of posts about their spontaneous adventures, like clockwork, every single time. While doing all this detective work, They were still living their best fake life, completely oblivious. Sophie sent usual Venmo request that Monday, $2,000 with rent due caption. I didn't respond. Tuesday morning, another request. Hey bro, did you see my Venmo? Kind of urgent. Left it on red. By Wednesday afternoon, Sophie was calling. I let it go to voicemail. She left 3 messages, each one increasingly panicked. Last one was just Marcus, what the hell? We need that money. Thursday morning, got text I'd been waiting for. Are you mad at me or something? Nathan says we can probably get extension on rent, but we really need your help. Call me. That's when made my first move. Sent back single screenshot. Their post from Sunday, showing their $500 recovery brunch at some bougie downtown restaurant. Time-stamped just hours after. They'd left mom's party. No caption, no comment, just receipt they'd proudly shared with their food blogger friends. Sophie called immediately, actually smiled when saw her name on phone. Time to use those improv classes from college. Hey, yes, sorry I've been busy, I said, making sure to sound distracted. What's up? What's with the screenshot? She demanded. Are you like stalking my Instagram or something? Oh, that. Just noticed you guys had nice brunch. Right after asking me to cover rent again? Must have been good. $500 is lot for eggs. Silence on other end was beautiful. Could practically hear her trying to come up with explanation. That was different, she finally stammered. Nathan had some clients he needed to impress. It's business expenses. Right, I said. Keeping voice neutral. Just like designer loafers were business expense, and spa weekend was for networking. Another long pause. Who's been talking to you? Her voice had that edge, gets when she's losing control of situation. Does it matter? Look, I'm having some cash flow issues right now. Might need to pause the payments for a while. Cash flow issues? She actually scoffed. You make like $1 billion writing computer stuff. And there it was. Entitled Attitude Diana warned me about. Mask was already slipping. Actually, I make decent money before taxes. And I've been sending you $24,000 a year. Want to do that math real quick? This isn't funny, Marcus. We're counting on that money. We have bills to pay. Weird how you need my money so badly. When you just dropped $900 on styling system. Or was that for clients too? Click. She hung up on me. Within an hour, my phone was blowing up. Nathan sent paragraph. About how I was tearing family apart. Sophie switched to guilt trip mode. Sent photo of their past due utility bill. Conveniently cropped to hide date. Even mom texted asking if everything okay. Because Sophie was very upset. But I stayed quiet, posted nothing. Said nothing, just watched as they started to realize their gravy train had hit brakes. Best revenge plan is like good code. You set it up right, then let it run itself. And boy was it about to run. That's when Sophie deployed nuclear option. She called our mom crying. Need to understand something about our mom. Sweetest person alive. But she's been enabling Sophie's behavior. Since we were kids, if Sophie was upset, it was always someone else's fault. When she maxed first credit card at 19, Dad was too strict with money. When she dropped out of college, her professors were against her creative spirit. Now her terrible money habits, apparently my fault, for suddenly abandoning her. Mom called me at work, which she never does. Could hear tension in her voice immediately. Marcus, your sister is hysterical. She says you're refusing to help with bills anymore. They might lose their house. First of all, wasn't their house. It was rental they could never afford. Second, only thing they were at risk of losing was their luxury lifestyle. But try explaining that to mother who's listening to. Her daughter sob about being homeless. Mom, I said, trying to keep voice level. Did Sophie happen to mention that I've been giving them $2,000 every month? For past year and a half? Silence. Then she said, you were helping with rent sometimes? Sometimes? Mom, I've given them $36,000. That's more than some people make in a year. And want to know what they did with it? Check Sophie's Instagram. Heard her typing. Mom's not super tech savvy, but she knows how to stalk her kids on social media. Waited as she scrolled through Sophie's feed. The brunches, the shopping sprees, the weekend trips, all meticulously documented. With blessed hashtags. Oh, she said quietly. I didn't realize, but Sophie wasn't done when Mom didn't immediately solve her problem. Started calling other family members. Aunt Diana already knew truth, obviously. But others started getting involved. Cousin Thomas texted asking if I was in trouble because Sophie said I was acting erratic with money. Uncle Peter, some kind of financial advisor, called to offer his services because he heard I was struggling with fiscal responsibility. Stories Sophie was spinning got wilder by day. By end of week, half family thought I was either having mental breakdown, secretly gambling, or joined some kind of tech cult. That made me turn against family. My brother Lucas, bless his soul, just kept sending popcorn emojis, asking if he could watch next time it all kicked off. Then Nathan showed up at my office. I work at one of those typical tech companies downtown. You know the type, cold brew on tap, beanbag chairs everywhere. Was in middle of code review when receptionist pinged me on Slack. There's someone here insisting on seeing you. Says he's family. Walked into lobby. Found Nathan pacing back and forth, still wearing his realtor uniform. Crisp polo. Khakis? That fake Cartier watch? He bought from his guy, trying to look professional, but could see desperation in his eyes. We need to talk, he said, trying to keep voice down. This has gone too far. Looked at him, then at security guard watching us curiously, then back at him. You came to my workplace for this? You won't answer our calls. Sophie's a mess. Our rent is due in 3 days, and our electricity is about to be shut off. Weird, I said. Pulling out my phone, opened Instagram, showed him Sophie's post from that morning, mirror selfie showing off her new athleisure haul. Caption, treat yourself Tuesday. His face went red. That's not what it looks like. She's trying to maintain her image for her fitness clients. Right. And I guess $300 sushi dinner you posted about last night was for networking? He actually took a step back. Have you been stalking our social media? Stalking, Nathan? You tag the restaurants. You geotag your locations. You literally post the receipts, trying to flex on people. I'm not stalking you. I'm just paying attention. That's when he switched tactics. His voice got low, almost threatening. Look, you don't want to make enemy out of me. I know people. Important people. Couldn't help it. Laughed. Like actually laughed out loud. Important people, Nathan? I checked your real estate license records. You haven't closed deal in 8 months. Only important people you know are bartenders at that overpriced whiskey bar. You can't afford. Security was definitely watching us now. Nathan noticed too. Tried to backpedal. Just think about what you're doing. To your sister, to your family, I have thought about it. I've thought about it $36,000 worth. And I'm done. Turned and walked back to office. As Doctor closed behind me, heard him call out. This isn't over, but it was. He just didn't know it yet. After Nathan's little office visit stunt, things escalated faster than software update. Mom decided we needed family meeting. To work things out. Those with dysfunctional families know exactly what that means. Code for let's all gather so troublemaker can apologize, and we can go back to pretending everything's fine. Mom scheduled it for Sunday afternoon. At their house, family meetings at parents' place always followed same script. Everyone sits in living room. Mom makes her special occasion coffee. Just regular coffee with cinnamon. But don't tell her I said that. Dad pretends to mediate, while actually just wanting to get back to garage projects. But this time I came prepared. Remember that documentation I mentioned? Spreadsheets, screenshots, records. Spent Saturday night putting together what we in tech would call presentation deck, but was really more like PowerPoint of receipts. Brought my laptop, HDMI cable. Always be prepared. Enough evidence to make forensic accountant blush. Arrived early, needed to set up. Mom looked nervous when she saw me plugging laptop into their TV, but just kept stress cleaning already spotless coffee table. Dad in his usual armchair, trying to look interested in his phone, but actually playing puzzle game. Lucas showed up next, took one look at my setup, whispered, "This is going to be good," before claiming best seat in house. Sophie and Nathan arrived late. Shocking, I know. In his least luxury car, Sophie had clearly been crying. Makeup was perfect, so these were definitely strategic tears. Nathan wearing what I'd started thinking of as his serious business outfit, polo, khakis, that embarrassing fake watch. They stopped short when saw TV screen, showing my desktop background. Yes, it's still default one. Don't judge me. What's all this? Sophie demanded. Already sounding defensive. Just little presentation, I said. Opening my files, since we're here to talk about money, figured some visuals might help. Mom tried to intervene. Marcus, I thought we were just going to talk. Oh, we're going to talk, I said. Clicking to first slide. Let's start with timeline. TV displayed neat chart, showing every payment I'd made to them. Over 18 months, aligned with their social media posts. From same periods, Sophie's face went pale. Nathan started tugging at his collar. In past year and a half, I began, using my best explaining technical stuff to manager's voice. I've given you $36,000. That's after taxes, by the way. Let's look at how that money was spent. Click. Next slide. Compilation of their Instagram stories, showing expensive dinners, shopping sprees, self-care purchases, each dated within days of my payments. Here's you guys at that new fusion place downtown. I narrated, pointing to photo. This was 3 days after you told me. You couldn't pay your electric bill. Nice wine pairing, by the way. That was business dinner, Nathan sputtered. For clients. Click. Here's receipt you posted. Tagged as date night. With about 12 heart emojis. Weird way to label business dinner. Sophie tried to jump in. You're making us look bad on purpose. Those posts aren't telling whole story. Click. Spreadsheet appeared. Meticulous and color-coded. You're right, they're not. So I made this. Every payment you asked for, every excuse you gave, and what you actually spent money on. See these red highlights? Those are times you claimed it was for utilities or rent, but then posted about buying luxury items instead. This is ridiculous. Nathan stood up, face red. You're obsessed. You've been stalking our social media. Like some kind of stalking? I interrupted. Clicking to next slide. You mean like how you check in everywhere on Instagram? Or how you tag every store you shop at? Or maybe how you literally post your receipts? Trying to flex on people? That kind of stalking? Room was dead silent. Lucas was grinning like it was Christmas morning. Mom had her hand over her mouth. Dad had actually put down his phone. But here's best part, I continued. Clicking to new slide. While you were spending my money on luxury goods, you were also making fun of me behind my back, calling me rich tech nerd who had no life, making jokes about how I was buying your friendship. Remember those conversations, Sophie? The ones at Lily's baby shower? Sophie's face went from pale to red. Aunt Diana? She whispered. She told you? Yeah, she did. Because unlike some people, she actually cares about family. Beyond what they can buy for her, Nathan tried to salvage situation. Look, we made some jokes, okay? We were stressed about money. Stressed about money? Clicked to final slide. Montage of their luxury purchases over past month after they claimed they were broke. Is that why Sophie bought new styling system last week? Or why you bought those designer loafers? Or why you're still paying for premium gym membership? Mom finally found her voice. Sophie, is this true? All of it? Sophie burst into tears. Real ones this time. You don't understand. We had to maintain certain image. Nathan's real estate career? Hasn't had sale in 8 months I finished for her? Yeah, I checked public records. Want me to show those too? Nathan stood up so fast, knocked over his coffee. This is bull. You're trying to make us look like criminals. No, I said calmly. I'm showing everyone exactly who you are. You took advantage of my help, mocked me behind my back, then had audacity to act like victims. When I stopped funding your fake lifestyle, that's when Dad finally spoke up in his quiet mechanic's voice that we all knew meant serious business. Nathan, sit down. Sophie, stop crying. Marcus, show us everything. For next hour, walked them through it all. Payment history, spending patterns, social media posts. The lies, by end. Mom was crying. Dad looked like he aged 10 years. Lucas was slow clapping in corner. Sophie and Nathan tried to leave halfway through, but Dad made them stay. You wanted family meeting, he said. We having one. When I finally closed laptop, room was silent, except for Sophie sniffling. Then Mom looked at them, said something I never thought I'd hear. I'm so disappointed in both of you. That's when knew everything had changed. It's been 3 months since family meeting. That nuked my sister's fake Instagram lifestyle. And holy hell have things changed. Grab some popcorn. Because this aftermath is better than any season finale I've ever watched. Remember how Sophie and Nathan were always posting about their luxury lifestyle? Well, their social media went dark. Immediately after meeting, like completely silent. Constant stream of brunches, shopping hauls, and inspirational quotes just stopped. Sophie's last post was literally mid-story about some overpriced juice cleanse, internet equivalent of Ghost Town. But real changes, those started happening about week after meeting. First, Nathan's leased car mysteriously disappeared from their driveway. Turns out when you lease luxury car and miss 3 payments, repo guys don't care about your personal brand. He's driving 2012 Corolla now. Welcome to my world, buddy. Their fancy rental house was next. Remember that $4,000 month modern farmhouse monstrosity? Yeah, they got evicted. Not because I stopped paying. They'd actually been pocketing my rent money for months while missing payments. because their landlord finally got tired of their excuses. Look on Nathan's face when he had to move their designer furniture into storage unit was chef's kiss. Speaking of Nathan's real estate career, remember how I mentioned he hadn't closed deal in 8 months? Well, someone, definitely not me, left detailed review of his business practices on his broker's Facebook page. Suddenly, all those big deals he was always talking about evaporated. His broker pulled his license last month, citing ethical concerns. Now he's working at his uncle's car dealership in Roseville. No more luxury real estate expert bio on LinkedIn. Sophie tried to maintain her yoga instructor/lifestyle influencer thing for about 2 weeks. After moving back in with our parents, she'd post these weird, vague motivational quotes about weathering storms and staying authentic, but kind of hard to sell luxury fitness lifestyle. When you're filming workout videos in your childhood bedroom, her premium gym membership got canceled. Shocking, I know. Most of her clients jumped ship when they realized her whole image was fake. Family dynamics have been interesting. Mom went through about a week of trying to fix things before Dad finally sat her down, showed her their credit card statements. Turns out Sophie had borrowed Mom's card information for some of those emergency shopping sprees. Now she's doing that quiet, disappointed thing. That's somehow worse than anger. She actually made Sophie get real job. She's working as receptionist at Dad's friend's dental office. No more flexible entrepreneur schedule. Lucas, my absolute legend of little brother, made drinking game out of counting. How many times Sophie tries to blame situation on everyone else during family dinner? Mercury isn't even in retrograde anymore, Sophie. Maybe it's just consequences. I almost spit out my drink. Most satisfying part? All that designer stuff they bought, trying to maintain their image. Most of it turned out to be fakes, or returns they never sent back. Nathan's watch collection was all replica specials. Sophie's designer bags were mostly high-quality dupes from some sketchy website. Even their furniture was mostly marketplace finds they tried to pass off as new. Facade wasn't just cracking, it was completely fake to begin with. Last week, Sophie tried one last time to fix things, showed up at my apartment. Yeah, same sad little apartment she used to make fun of, with tears in her eyes, and speech about how she'd learned her lesson, talked about therapy and personal growth, and understanding value of money now. I listened to her whole speech, then showed her something I'd been saving. Screenshots of her messages to our cousins from just 2 weeks ago, still talking trash about me, and planning how to get back on my good side so money would start flowing again. Her face when she realized I could still see family group chat. Priceless. Sophie, I said, I don't need you to act sorry. I need you to actually change. And until that happens, we're done. She left crying. Real tears this time, not strategic ones she used to use. As for me, life's pretty good. That house down payment fund I mentioned, it's growing again. Upgraded my gaming PC. Finally, got that $4,090, worth every penny. I'm taking actual vacations now. Writing this from coffee shop in Tokyo, actually. Turns out not bankrolling someone else's fake lifestyle leaves you with a lot of disposable income. Mom still occasionally tries to bridge gap, but even she admits, things are better this way. Dad's actually started asking me for financial advice, which is both weird and kind of awesome. Lucas, he's thinking about learning to code. Apparently watching his big brother destroy 2 lives with PowerPoint inspired him. Best part? Ran into Nathan at grocery store last week. He was wearing polo with car dealership logo, looking at clearance items. When he saw me, he literally turned around, walked other way. Guess that designer loafers. On other foot now, huh? Final update since so many asked. Yes, I'm doing much better mentally now, not carrying their financial burden. Therapy and weightlifting help lot. And before anyone else asks, yes, my company is hiring. No, I can't refer you, but maybe learn to code. It worked out pretty well for me. MFW realize I wasted $36,000 on entitled sister. MFW, I got it all back in karma. MFW, I'm actually happier without toxic family members. TFW, you realize you're not actually the family ATM. TFW, your spreadsheet skills actually save your life. Worth it. Absolutely worth it.